Conduit News. Today we have Hope Hendren Duke joining us in the studio once again. Hope is running for House District 12 here in Northwest Arkansas. Hey, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Well, it's been a few months since you were here last, and so now we've, fast forwarded all the way to May. The early voting is happening. Give us an update just very quickly about that and your race.
It's been very busy, a lot going on. Of course, I've, like everybody, have your regular work, your regular family life that you're doing, and then my school board position, which we had a meeting on Monday night, and then doing the campaign trail, talking to people, doing door to door, going to different meetings and forums, which has been great to have some forums to be able to get the differences contrasted out there, because there are differences even in Republican primaries. There are differences.
Yeah. So talk to us about that. What does that look like?
So a couple of the differences, I guess, is that what you're referencing exactly? So one difference between me and one of the fellow school board members that I serve with, who I like, but we definitely have differences in opinions as far as the mask mandates. I think I mentioned before that I voted when Gravette had the opportunity to remove the mask, which I think should be the parents' decision first and foremost. But I voted to have the mask come off and be optional for the parents to decide, and he voted to keep the masks on. So that's a big difference, and that was important to a lot of people. When I go out and do door to door, that's something that people ask a lot about as far as that mandate issue as well. And then something that a lot of people don't know about as far as education philosophy, something I talk a little bit about, standard-based grading. And I think that falls into an equity piece because of the way it 1, 2, 3, 4 is. And I don't want to get in the weeds here. I'm happy to discuss it with people, but he voted for that removal of traditional grading systems of A, B, C, D percentages and things like that. And I voted to keep that grading system in. I think parents understand it better. A lot of people have different opinions on that, but those are two differences between myself and my fellow board member. I think also one of the differences for my other opponents is I've got a track record of standing on the school board, like on the mask issues. And you know what you get. And one of the frustrating things I think for voters today is you go to the polls and you vote for people and you don't really know, are they going to do what they said they were going to do when they were knocking on your door or when they were talking to you at a forum? Well, I've shown that I've done that on the Gravette School Board. When we've had hard decisions, I speak up, I ask questions. You can go watch the live video to see that I do that. You can go read the minutes to see where we voted on some of those issues. And so for me as a voter, that's something that's reassuring to know is, are they going to do it? Do they have a record of doing that in however area they've served? And so those are some things that are some differences, I think.
Yeah. We kind of would agree. I think a proven record is hands down better than any rhetoric that may come from a well-intentioned candidate. Talk to us about your time on the school board. I believe you've served now for over 7 years or 6 years.
6 years.
Okay, 6 years. Talk to us about that and the lessons learned. And education right now is at the forefront. I mean, parental rights is one of the top issues people are asking about. Where do you stand? Talk to us just a little bit more about that.
So one of the reasons why I got involved in the school board, and I've always been engaged in our school district in what's going on in our school since I was in college, is a tax increase. That's what got me engaged to begin with, and eventually running for the school board. The last several years, as I've served on the school board, I've worked hard as far as making sure parents know what's going on and talking to not just parents, but to teachers, to other staff members, to our bus drivers, just to understand what's going on in the school district and also to convey that. I've met with people this week. I'm going to be off the board in just a few weeks. I'm still meeting with people, going to the board meetings and discussing those things. This last summer curriculum, I mean, it's been on my radar for a really long time. I'm glad it's on other people's radars now too, because we do more when more of us are involved. But I read through 4 grade levels of reading comprehension curriculum to make sure that we weren't having CRT in our schools. And one of the things that I've noticed through that is I can read through all the curriculum in the world as a school board member, but I don't get to pick it. Our state picks it first and then says pick from this bucket. And so that's a lot of things that people don't know, that school boards don't have as much control as they think that they do over curriculum. And even when you do that, it comes down to the teacher in the classroom too, because there's all kinds of additional supplements that they can use that I don't even get to read. There's online things that it's not available for me to read. And so who you hire as a superintendent, who you have working in the classroom and what lens they're going to teach through, which in the Gravette School District, we have emphasized the last several years, our job is to teach the academics and the common values in our district, which one of our things we've done is implement as one of our kind of pillars is traditional discipline, because that's something that we're seeing being really removed from local schools. And it's starting at the state level where they're telling us how to do discipline. So I could talk education for a really long time because that's a passion of mine. But those are things that I've been doing in our district that I think have been beneficial on our school board and for our families.
For those people who are still very engaged, they're paying attention to their children's education, that sort of thing. That's awesome. But then we're also seeing, so many things have been rolled back, the mandates, et cetera. Life is starting to feel a little bit more normal again. Although you look at our economy, it seems as though it's crashing. I mean, those things you would think would grab people's attention, but they're back to going to the baseball games, the softball games, the soccer, running their errands. Are you finding that people are not as engaged or not as informed in this primary election, say if it were in the middle of the pandemic?
I am finding some of that. And I think it's great. Everyone's gone back to normal life. I mean, we've been living pretty normal in my corner of the world for a long time, but it's easy to take for granted. We had a fantastic senior year for my son this year. Everything was normal. We embraced it. They loved it. They had a great time. But we can't forget what we were going through not us, but other schools or other areas of our state and our country were going through just a few months ago. Yeah. We've got to be vigilant. We got to protect those things. We've got to be engaged. We've got to be involved. We've got to pay attention. We've got to research the candidates. You can't just go by what somebody tells you. You got to go look and see what is their past shown on that record and stuff too. And we got to get out and vote. Yeah. And we got to bring our neighbors, and we just cannot be complacent on this. One thing I think you can see on the other side is they're not complacent. Right. They're encouraging people to go vote. They're encouraging people to vote in the Republican primary. Right. And so the Republicans better get out and vote.
That's right. Okay. For those still who have not voted and they're in your district, what do they need to know? What would be the last thing you want to tell them?
Well, go vote. Take people with you to go vote. Yeah. Go dig into the information. Don't just go by signs. Don't just go by ads. You need to research your candidates on every single level. Go check me out. I wish you would. I stand by my record. You may not agree with me. That's okay. Mm-hmm. But know what you're voting for and who you're voting for. And then get out there and don't wait. You can early vote, however you feel about early voting. It's there. Go vote. Yeah. Go get engaged in voting and be prepared. There's probably going to be something that's going to distract you on election day. Yeah. Don't let that keep you from going to the polls. You've got to go.
Awesome insight. Thank you so much for coming in. Good luck on Tuesday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.